In this video, I got Ace out on a walk in the neighborhood. It's an absolute beautiful evening. A little cloudy, the skies starting to show it's breaking a little bit, the weather. But anyway, the sun's going down, and it's kind of cool right now, a little cooler, starting to cool off some. And here's Ace, doing fantastic. So yeah, part of the scripting process with dogs. Here's someone coming out. Hi. Is all about here, tap, tap, tap. Tap them out. Tap them out. So here's pizza delivery person coming out of the house, and just shows you there him wanting to wrap his mind a little bit. And so I do is just tap him out. And so here the context is too, and just give a few pointers as I'm doing the walk here with Ace. It's how a dog responds to the scripting. That's how you can tell whether it's just the context, whether the dog's in the follower scripted or not. It's how they respond to what I define as relational influence, but within the scripting of what's reasonable through leadership. So for example, the dog is starting to look a certain direction, and you start to tap a little bit. It's how the dog responds to that nudging. Whether the dog is very resistant, doesn't want to come back into the script, and what level that's happening at. So here I'm going to slow down. I put the Ace into the sit. Now here, with Ace, he's actually getting to a really good level, so that this is where the commands are actually gathering strength, so that when I'm telling him to sit, he's going into it. He's going into it. It's not based on devaluation, but rather it's based on the script being defined through leadership. So this is where it's actually a good thing. I mean, this is where you start to you can start to kind of temper back the push-pull method fully, where it's more of a assertive pushing and pulling going on, and where you can kind of almost one-hand him. So it's not a big deal here. So here what I'm going to do is, there's a lady coming down the street with her dog. So just out of some courtesy to her as well, I'm going to cross the street. See, she's right down here. I don't want to hold my phone up much here. I'm just going to tap them along. So here, by crossing over like that, and this is when you're creating some boundaries, a little bit of boundaries, and you know a dog is highly expressive towards other dogs. Now here in Ace's case, he's doing extremely well. So that's not a big issue here with him right at this point of his boarding training. But when you do know that a dog is really getting a lot of fulfillment with other dogs, what you want to do is really be aware of establishing kind of boundaries, which means that your walk, you're treating it like a little exercise in terms of how you're scripting it. So for example, another dog is walking up towards you on the same side of the street. You want to kind of cut parallel while you're continuing to bring the dog into the follower script. So you never want to turn or cross the street out of weakness, which means that you want to do it ahead of time before the dog starts really pushing hard out of the script. So it's all very controlled, it's very intentional doing it. So therefore, you're going to be a lot more successful. So here, same thing. I got a guy coming, walking up the other side of the road. And here, what I'll do is I'll anticipate Ace as he's starting to kind of want to look over here. Now, just kind of, I'll watch his reaction, but I'll just nudge here just slightly to make sure he's not wrapping his mind. So, so the whole issue here of scripting, it's context. So, for example, if the dog comes to me, or if you're training your dog, and you already know that he's connecting those relational dots, so he's gaining fulfillment and power, you need to work on interrupting those states. They're not just states of mind that are not problematic. That's why, again, you go back to the test of how a dog responds to influence coming online within the moments of separation. That'll give you context. If a dog is responding, just coming right into the script, and so not trying to lock in, so to speak, and resist or challenge influence that way, you know a dog is starting to come into a good level of being role changed. So therefore, that's the thing. It's like getting a three-dimensional view of the relationship. But again, really important to understand when you're walking your dog, taking your dog for a walk, it really matters, you know, how this issue of how a dog's mind separates at what level, and keeping the script defined. And again, I'm going to put Ace into another sit. Put him back in. We're coming around. We've already broke the half-mile mark here on the walk. So, and how this works too is during the walk around my neighborhood, you can see here, it's exactly 1 mile. So when I'm coming around my block here, my neighborhood, I know it's exactly 1 mile, whether I turn around halfway and go back the same way, or like I'm doing here tonight, I'm walking the whole thing. I'm walking exactly that mile in. And I'll do that a couple times a day with the dogs that I'm boarding, because again, that structured walk is really good for them, especially here. I got mowing the lawn. With the amount of distractions, I got a dog coming right behind me. Look at this. See this? This is like same thing. There we go. You saw what happened there. This is one of the real life things. You're gonna keep tapping. So here, that's a good example of what can take place. Now here, that neighbor, and he has dogs out like that. I mean, I remember going on I used to jog around the block here. His little dogs would be out off leash, and sometimes can be a bit of a problem. They're kind of yappy, but you saw what happened there. They came up, and I didn't see that dog come up until he was already behind Ace, coming up on around his backside. And all I did there was a good example, because I kind of talked what happened there is just, again, maintain your focus on your script, on what you're doing. Don't worry about the other dog that way. Just keep the script going. Now this is where sometimes what will happen is you get a really bad situation, or a big dog coming out, then you either have to work that dog as well to get that dog away from you, or your dog that's in a follower state will, if it needs to, this has never happened to me at that level, will protect you if it needs to, but within the script of a follower. So I'm not going to throw the first punch, but will look after you. But here, there was no danger to Ace. It actually worked out to be a great little training exercise, because as Ace started to go outside the parameters, I communicated. I said, basically what I was communicating, saying, no, I got this. There's no danger to you. I'm working on keeping him, within the follower script, and that's going to help him, because it's a trust thing. You know, it's a thing where I'm actually defining the scripting process. I'm assessing what's going on. You know, I'm communicating. I'm saying, no, it's all right. The little dog isn't going to hurt you, and I don't want you seeking or gaining power through that little episode. So just what I'm doing there is just keeping him, bringing him right into the script right away. I'm interrupting that state. So, but again, that's a good little example of what to do when you get those things happening. Is just stay completely calm, focus on what you're doing, don't get rattled, don't allow yourself to unravel, because what happens is if you unravel, the dog is going to feel that and express even more power, start to unravel as well. So anyway, just a little update. I'm going to stop the video at this point and just finish off my walk, but Ace is doing extremely well. So anyway, take care. Hope you have a good night.